The rain has been speaking to the tall windows for a long time now. Winter rain, not a hard weather that asks you to hurry indoors. Just a steady, patient sound against the glass, soft enough that you could almost mistake it for silence if you were not listening. Inside, a single lamp keeps a small circle of warm light on a wooden desk. Beyond that circle, the reading room holds its gentle dark. Shelves wait with cloth-bound quiet. The street world has already gone home. The carpet is empty of hurry, and the only visitors left are the ones who came here to rest. You do not have to do anything here. You do not have to remember the day. If your eyes want to close, they may. I will speak slowly. The rain will continue, and nothing urgent will be asked of you tonight. This is a quiet place for quiet stories. Soft history of rooms kept for reading after dark. Told the way someone might tell it if they were sitting near you, with no need to prove anything. There will be no sudden turns, no demand that you stay alert. Only rain, wood, warm light, and a voice that does not mind if you drift away in the middle of a sentence. So settle if you can. Let your shoulders drop. Let the next breath be a little longer than the last. We are already inside. The winter outside is only weather. The reserved chair, if it waits nearby, is only company. If you look around, or if you only imagine looking around, you will notice how much of a reading room at night is made for stillness. Tall shelves that do not argue with the weather, a carpet that has learned the soft weight of ordinary steps, windows tall enough to gather rain and soften the winter night beyond them, the way a hand cups water and does not spill it. The air smells faintly of paper, of wood polish, and of rooms kept carefully for people who did not need to shout to be understood. It is not a sharp smell. It is the kind that belongs to libraries after the last conversation has thinned away, and to desks that have held both study and rest. Somewhere in the building's memory, a door once closed gently, and the sound was enough. Outside, the rain draws thin silver lines down the glass. The night beyond is deep charcoal, soft at the edges, more like a blanket than a stage. If there are distant lights on wet stone, they are only small gold points, blurred by water, with no demand that you look closely. Inside, the lamp on the desk is the main warmth of this small room. Its light is soft and limited, which is a kindness. A wide, bright room can ask too much of tired eyes. A small circle is enough. There may be an empty chair drawn near the lamp, left as if someone stepped away for a while, and then chose the rain as quieter company. There may be a closed book that will not be opened tonight. There may be a second chair, slightly set apart, reserved, ordinary, at ease. Soft evidence that people have been gentle here. If your mind is still carrying the noise of the day, you can set it down on the desk beside the lamp. You do not have to organize it. You do not have to solve it. This room has held heavier weather than one ordinary evening, and it is still standing. Notice, too, how little the room asks of your face. No one is waiting for your reaction. No screen is brightening to pull you forward. The only flicker is the lamp steady enough to trust. In a world that often rewards alertness, this is a small permission slip written in amber light. You may become less available now. The shelves are cool if you imagine touching their edges. Not cold enough to startle. Cool the way wood and cloth are cool. Patient, older than your lists. Willing to hold the night without complaint. The rain continues its long letter on the glass. You do not need to answer it. Listening is enough. Somewhere a timber may tick once, and then think better of it. These are not interruptions. They are proof that the building is a living shelter, warming itself the way a body does in sleep, automatically, without drama. Listen again to the rain. It has not changed its mind. It will keep its steady conversation with the glass while we stay. And if, far beyond the walls, the soft winter night continues its larger quiet, let it be only company, sound, not a task. A large, dark friend that does not need you to keep watch. There is a story told about rooms like this, not as a warning and not as a claim that must be proven, only as something the night seems willing to hold. It is said that some reading rooms were kept not only for the bright hours of study, but for the softer hours after the street grew quiet. Not loud, not dramatic, simply the idea that pages can continue after people have set the day down. In the soft tellings from many places, people speak of modest lamps left for late readers, of chairs that waited without complaint, of shelves that did not demand a perfect score for the evening. The stories are gentle. They sound like good manners practiced quietly, without a show. People who tell the tale sometimes speak of membership cards and closing hours in different ways. What matters is not the catalogue of rules. What matters is the habit at the centre. Quiet without fuss. Welcome without performance. Care for the mind that is tired of being clever. You do not need to believe in anything unusual. You only need to believe that a room can feel kinder when someone has left a light for the late arriver. That is the calm heart of it. A mind can rest. A day can end without a perfect paragraph. Reading can exist without applause tonight. In one telling, a traveller once stepped into a tall windowed room after winter rain and felt a strange relief. Not because they needed rescuing, but because the room looked ready for rest. A chair drawn near, a lamp making its small gold island, spines as soft colour rather than titles to conquer. Predictable gentleness is a kind of lullaby for the mind. It says the next moment will resemble this one. You may soften. If this were a different kind of story, someone might invent urgency or a night of trouble. Here, we can call it a habit of belonging made soft enough for sleep. The room stays kind because someone, over and over, chose to treat ordinary quiet as something that does not need an audience. You can pretend, if you like, that such care rests somewhere in this room now, not as a mystery to solve, only as a shape of calm. You do not need to finish a chapter. Knowing the night can hold pages without urgency is already a kind of company, like knowing a blanket is at the foot of the bed even when you are not cold. There is another turn to the story, quieter than the first. It says that such rooms never meant to impress anyone. They simply preferred a place where thought could breathe at the end of a day. Some tellers speak of them the way gardeners speak of soil, not because they answer in words, but because care sounds better when it is spoken softly. A version of the tale mentions a corner near the tallest window, where rain light made the carpet look almost silver at the edges. In that corner, a chair was left in a gentle place. No one in the soft tellings was required to choose forever between perfect study and rest in a single night. The story allowed temporary stops, temporary stillness, a hand allowed to put the day down and still be a careful hand. Some people, hearing this, imagine many rooms, a long gallery of shelves, a small alcove, a desk near the door. Others imagine only one lamp, one reserved chair, and winter rain writing the same long letter on glass. Whether those details are true does not matter much. Sleep does not require footnotes. It requires a path that does not jab the nerves. And if, somewhere in the lore of quiet rooms, soft care is still practicing its one gentle trick, making less of the day without making a scene, then it is doing what we are doing now, returning again and again to emotions soft enough to rest beside. Let that story rest for a moment. You can keep it if it feels warm in your hands. You can set it down if your mind has already begun to soften around the edges. Either way, return with me to the room as it is. The lamp is still making its small gold island on the desk. The rain is still writing the same long letter on the glass. The shelves have not moved. They do not need to. Movement is not the only proof that something is alive. Patience is another. If your eyes have closed, keep them closed. If they are half open, that is fine too. There is no test at the end of this hour. There is only the continuing rain and the next soft story waiting in the quiet, about a reserved chair that is always warm, and welcome that does not need an announcement. You do not have to keep watch tonight. Something careful was left ready before you arrived. That is enough. Near the quieter end of the desk, past the first empty place, before the shelves become a soft wall of colour, there is a chair that the second story likes to mention. Some nights, if you stand there now in imagination, you can almost invent the quiet of it. A seat left ready, a cushion that holds a little of the room's warmth. Nothing grand, nothing demanded, only the shape of welcome. The tale belongs to people who understood that not every kindness needs to be the size of a festival. The great ceremonies have their work. The ordinary evening has another. At the end of careful days, a chair might be left not as a prize under contest, but as soft manners, the way a porch light is left for someone arriving late. And those who walked past later, under a hood of tired thoughts or only the patient winter rain, sometimes said the room felt less alone. Less alone in this telling is not a crowd, it is a clearance of pressure. Tomorrow's lists can wait. Tomorrow's cleverness can wait on a shelf. Tonight the chair holds only itself, and a little soft shadow that does not mind being there, and the soft tick of a building settling. It was not a rule written in large letters, it was a habit. Leave a little readiness for the night. Cover what needs covering, then go where a lamp makes a circle the size of two open hands. The chair does not need your eyes to stay orderly in the dark. It has done this many nights. It knows how to rest. People who saw such things did not always stop. Sometimes seeing was enough. They were version of the tale, a young person once asked why anyone kept a chair warm if no one was certain who would sit. An elder answered, without making a speech of it, because manners are not only for the people who are watching. In another version, there is no young person and no elder, only the chair and the rain and the simple fact of welcome that does not keep score. What matters is not the exact century or the exact custom. What matters is the decision repeated until it became part of the room's weather. Offer rest, not for legend, not for bargain, for the possibility of one tired person sitting down with empty hands. Of course, stories grow soft edges when told for years. Some say the chair was always a little warmer than the air around it. Not dramatically, not in a way that demanded explanation, only the way a place feels when someone has been kind there recently. Some say later generations continued the habit of looking at that seat and feeling relief without knowing the first reason. The way people inherit a recipe and keep making it because the house smells right when they do. If you want a moral, it can be simple. You do not need to carry every unfinished task into the dark. A chair can be empty of hurry and still be complete. A mind can set down its cargo and still be itself in the morning. And if no one sits there tonight, it still holds its quiet shape for the person who left it carefully. Rest, even unnoticed, steadies the room. Rest steadies the night. So let the quiet reading room glow in your mind for a moment. Small lamp island, shelves a soft colour, rain silver on tall glass. Then walk with me, if you like, away from the farthest aisle and back toward the deeper quiet of one chair, where the desk lamp continues its own soft duty. The two kinds of care do not compete. One greets the long night of unfinished pages. One keeps company in the near quiet. Between them, a person can cross from the weather of the day into rest. Above the desk, if shadow is still practicing its slow fold over the wood grain, it does not mind the smaller lamp nearby. Care has room for more than one scale. A room for the long dark, a niche of gold for the near dark, a voice for the mind that is ready to set the day down. You can imagine a door closed gently, not locked against the world in anger, only closed the way a book is closed when the chapter is enough for tonight. The rain remains outside, still speaking. You remain inside, still allowed. If a thought arrives about unfinished lists, let it hang its coat on a peg of patience and wait. The peg is patient. The list can stay unfinished. The house in the story never asked anyone to earn the night first. If you are still with me, even softly, we can take a slow walk through the quiet room. There is no place you must reach in a hurry. The walk itself can be a resting place if we do it in imagination only, one quiet step at a time. Underfoot, the carpet is soft where ordinary days have travelled the same path from desk to glass. Your steps, if you invent them, can be slower than usual. There is no one behind you asking you to hurry. The sill, if there is a sill, is cool and steady under a hand that can rest lightly. At the glass, the rain becomes a closer companion, still patient, still writing its silver lines. That is is a lovely balance. Weather outside, shelter around you, voice nearby. Many of the best nights in a life are made of exactly that triangle. You might pause where the pane shows only soft winter night and water-beaded glass. You do not need to see a horizon. Knowing the night is large is enough. Knowing you are not required to manage it is better. These rooms were shaped by people who kept simple care and did it without drama. You can borrow that posture now. Hold one simple task. Breathe. If you imagine a short step farther, only in the mind, past an aisle of spines the colour of old tea and soft wood, you may see or invent a place that does not need to be claimed. Quiet without fuss. Kind without speech. Then turn back. Returning is part of the comfort. In sleep stories, we do not leave you on long, empty walks. We bring you home to the same chair, the same circle of gold, the same patient weather. On the way back, you may pass shelves that do not need to be read tonight. You may pass a doorway that leads only to more quiet. Sit again, if you like. The reserved chair remembers how to hold a person who has set down their day. Let your hands rest open or closed. Both are correct. Let your jaw soften by a single degree. That degree is enough to begin. The stories can settle now, the way dust settles into the softest carpet when no one is measuring it, not as neglect, but as peace. Stories of reading rooms after hours, a reserved chair that is always warm. You can keep them as you keep a smooth stone from a quiet shore, not because you must explain them, but because they feel steady in the pocket of the mind. Around you, the quiet reading room continues its night work of simply existing. Walls hold, windows receive the rain, the lamp spends its light carefully. None of these things demand applause. They are reliable in the way sleep wants the world to be reliable. No sudden rearrangements, no tests, no raised voices. If your thoughts still wander, you do not have to catch them. Let them wander the quiet aisles without you. They will tire eventually and find a corner. You can stay here in the warm circle, breathing at the pace of rain. There is nothing you failed to finish by resting. There is nothing you must earn before the next breath. The day can remain outside with its wet path and unfinished lists. This room was made for the opposite of urgency. You do not have to keep watch. Soft care, if it rests in the story only, rests without needing your hand. The chair, if it waits in gentle warmth, waits without needing your eyes. Your only task, if you want one, is to let the shoulders drop another fraction and allow the next breath to be uncounted. I will speak less now. The rain will take the larger share of the sound. If words continue in your head after mine thin out, let them be soft ones. Window, desk, lamp, rain, home. You are allowed to sleep. You are allowed to leave the stories half remembered. You are allowed to wake later with only the feeling of rain remaining, and perhaps a soft, warm chair that means was nothing more urgent than the night was kept, and so were you. Rest well. The quiet reading room will keep its quiet watch. The lamp will not mind if you do not see it. And outside, without needing an